Hi, good morning. Welcome to this stakeholder meeting looking at gender achievement gaps in Florida biology EOC between the years 2020 to 24. And during the course of this presentation, I'm also going to share with you some research that I did on Jamaica to address some of these issues in terms of performance, especially among boys. So the Florida Biology End of Course Assessment provides us with insights into students' performance across many demographic groups. And we have observed between 2020 and 24 significant trends in achievement gaps between the male students and the female students. And it has important implications with respect to education and also impacting their life practice and policy. So just going to go through and analyze the performance data, looking at gender, looking at some racial subgroups, which is very important for us as a tier one school, and just highlighting patterns of improvement and what are still some of our challenges with respect to this teaching and understanding the trends, and hopefully we can make some decisions at this meeting. Are we all on board with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the EOC is a computer-based, right? And it accounts for 30% of the overall grade for the student. So the final course grade, it weighs heavily on it. And that emphasizes its importance. There are 5 performance levels, 1 through 5, and 3 is considered being proficient. In 2024, we had over 200,000 students, and therefore this data is rather comprehensive. And it serves as a critical benchmark for gauging what's happening in science education across the state. The assessment results correlate with academic indicators in other subject areas, and it shows growth in terms of the students, and there's a high correlation. 0.8 regression graph is close to 1, and 1 is maximum. So, yes. All right, so that's just our general trend. And now we look at gender achievement gaps, because that's where I want to focus. There is on a whole a 7% gap, right? Proficiency between females and males. Males are lagging behind. And one of the areas that we see that there's a big difference is it's pronounced among Black and Hispanic students. And the difference in proficiency is about 10 percentile points. And that's significant. That is something we need to address. So we find these disparities not only in the biology, but we find it in ELA assessments, and that points to a greater picture where mastery of the English language is also beneficial in interpreting the data that's provided on this bio exam. All right, so what we need to do, we need to reduce the gaps, obviously, have targeted interventions, and possibly to have these interventions earlier. We may need to also consider resource allocation, strategic allocation of resources and educational materials. Equality and equity are 2 different things. Okay, some students may need more to bring them to a certain level, some students may need less. And we need to also have comprehensive assessment, regular monitoring of performances among the groups over the academic year. And so once again, we're having this disparity. Despite we're having improvements, the disparity persists. Black male students continue to show the largest performance deficit. And it's something that has to be addressed. All right, this is just showing performance among the different counties, right? It's just for overview. And so what are the contributing factors? What could be contributing to this gender achievement gap that we're having? One, it could be socioeconomic factors, and that's very important. Learning lifestyle differences, differences in how they process scientific information, engagement patterns, which I will talk to later in terms of a study from Jamaica, how to engage boys in the classroom somewhat differently from maybe what we're doing. And then teaching methodologies, instructional approaches that maybe favor the unique kinesthetic learning style that boys possibly have. So socioeconomic factors also play a significant role. Students with disadvantaged backgrounds clearly are facing additional barriers, additional challenges to achievement. And we have to basically merge our teaching modalities with the learning styles to make a more meaningful impact on their instruction overall. All right? And once again, we look, once they're underperforming the guys, it translates throughout their academic life. So the graduation rates for female is higher than males, all right? And also there's a GPA gap between the boys and the girls, all right? So this is something that we really would like to address as an institution. And as I said, the performance gap observed in the bio-EOC correlates strongly with disparities in terms of graduation, right? And these educational outcome differences obviously have long-term economic impacts on these students and individuals. And it also has implications in terms of the Florida workforce as well, and potentially developing people for the workforce. All right? So best practices for closing the gender gaps, we can look at targeted instruction, especially early intervention, culturally responsive teaching, and data-driven support. All of these have to come together in a multifaceted approach to address these achievement gaps. All right, looking ahead, we've just had the May 2025 assessment, right? Hopefully there will be a reduction in the gap, and hopefully many of the strategies implemented within the district will be successful, and we'll look at how there's some equity in terms of resources, accommodations, etc. So we can work together with the district by developing targeted strategies which are very specific. We can look at performance data very specifically and look at focusing on targeting these underperforming subgroups. All right, so this is some data from Jamaica, just showing you how we address that. All right, and we look particularly at what Jamaica would have as a third form boys. This would be equivalent to the 9th grade in US system, and that's the grade where they would take the bio-EOC. And Jamaica has the same problem. The performance of the boys over the years has been steadily declining. As a result of that, you have fewer class sizings supporting boys, because on our island we have schools that are all boys, right? And they're public schools. And so there is of course, boys don't really want to sit there and read a textbook. They don't want to sit there and be assigned passages or workbooks. They want more hands-on activities. So the research questions were effect on performance. How will cooperative grouping, what impact will it have on the students' performance in biology? How will it help to increase participation? And is this the best approach to achieve better grades in the subject? And this arises from Piaget's cognitive development outline, where they say once you reach 12 or 13, you start this process of understanding through interaction with your peers, and you actually learn better when you interact in groups. And what is the systematic thinking development that you want to inculcate? It's logical thinking, and this is all from Piaget, all right? So you're learning to logically think, exercise logic systematically, scientific reasoning, that's all part of Piaget's theory, abstract thinking, which you can apply to solve problems, and then it has other implications as well. So, application to ninth grade, it has implications in terms of educational implications, group learning, and a teaching approach. All right, these are just showing you the stage in Piaget, which is called the formal operational stage, and it is where, in essence, the ninth graders or people in the US who would be ninth graders taking the bio USC can think through logically through abstract concepts, because much of what you learn in biology, for example, DNA structure, protein synthesis, genes, whatever, are really kind of abstract concepts, and you get to assimilate them better by having peer-mediated instruction. And so it's found that when you do have this, there's a faster development when interacting with peers rather than with adults. All right? Methodology, data collection, interpretation, analysis, and comparisons. The ethics, it was approved by the ethical committee of this university college, and it was supervised with the supervision of an in-service teacher. All right? And showing you once again the benefits of engagement, hands-on approach, knowledge discovery, deeper understanding. Implementing cooperative learning, you form the group, the teacher carefully selects the group. In the group, students know that they have a shared responsibility for learning. There's role assignment, where either the student is assigned by the teacher or the students themselves assign roles. And then there's group interaction. They work together, they encourage each other, they support each other in the learning activity. How does it apply to biology? Biology is a very practical subject. It combines hands-on activity, and this can be combined with substantial reading, but that is done in the group. It's an alternative approach, and it can be supported by a larger framework with either within a school or within a department. These are the benefits, and then these are the results. So, this is a treatment group. These are the students who were actually in cooperative learning groups as opposed to those that studied individually. Each group consisted of 80 students, so it was quite a big study size. So what were results? The students in the cooperative learning groups showed significant grade improvement, and they outperformed those that studied individually, as opposed to coming to class, picking up a book, working through a workbook. The ones that sat in groups and went through activities did much better. So the implications, cooperative learning can be an effective alternative teaching mechanism, especially for biology. And this is showing you the pass rate as well. And then this is just a developmental plan moving forward in terms of strategies in the upcoming year to look at in terms of addressing these challenges. And as you know, I worked alongside another teacher, Ms. Diana Calderon. Unfortunately, she wasn't here today. As you know, she works on the other campus and couldn't make it to this meeting, but we both worked together on this, and these are our findings and these are our recommendations. So do you have any questions, any comments before we close out?
No questions.
Okay,
No questions.
all right.
No questions, no.
So thank you for your time, all right? Appreciate it.